All right, just give it a moment. My cameraman can sit down. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking the time out to come out and hear a little bit about what I have to say. Obviously, from the giant red letters on the screen, you can see that it's about getting out there and voting with this next election coming up. I thought it was a great idea to give. I've heard a lot of people say, well, my vote doesn't count, or it's too difficult. So I put this together in hopes that I would help, give you the simplistics of voting, why you should vote, and what happens if you don't vote. All those important things that I think are important for you to learn so that you can get out there and vote if you haven't already taken advantage of that. So first things first, registering to vote is actually very, very simple. And voting is also simple as well. The requirements for voting are you must be a U.S. citizen or a resident of Washington State, at least 18 years old by election day, not under Department of Correction supervision for a felony conviction, and not disqualified from voting due to a court order. You'll find additional information on the website that's down here at the bottom. Is where I got this information from, and I am going to provide you guys with a copy of it at the end of the presentation so that you have it for reference. So where to register and assistance. A lot of the times, again, I hear people saying it's really difficult, I don't even know where I should register to vote. There's so many places you can register to vote, and not only that, these places are willing to give you additional information should you, have additional questions about the process. You can register to vote online, by mail, or your county clerk's office, at a public library. I actually registered to vote at my DMV. But again, any of these places not only are willing to help you to register to vote, but will also answer any questions that you might have. And why should you vote? Comes down to as simple as letting your voice be heard. It's your right that was given to you as a citizen. As a citizen, each of us is a key in deciding who's going to represent us in the government at the local, state, and national level. Like our president. So of course, wouldn't you want somebody representing you that you elected? Not somebody else electing on your behalf. I know that that's something that I would like for myself to get out there and vote for somebody that has maybe the same beliefs I do or shares the same thoughts that I do, and not having somebody else go out there and vote on my behalf. An article that I found on HUP website is called "Why Not Voting Is a Bad Idea" by Alyssa Barron, and she really hit the nail on the head for me on as far as what she says. We really want to get out there and vote because we're limiting the terms of office holders. Instead of electing one official and allowing them to serve until they die, we're really cycling who is out there, who is elected. So if you vote for someone and they really didn't do the things they said they were going to do and that you were hoping they would do, you know what? It's okay. They're not going to serve forever. Another election is going to come around and you're going to have the opportunity to vote for someone else. Another important reason is your vote does count. Despite what many people say, they say your vote doesn't matter, based on what you learn in college, it's the electoral college that, really matters, states win, elections, and that is true. I read an article online by David Wahlberg. It's titled, "Does My Vote Count? Understanding the Electoral College." And it explains it in this matter. For a candidate to become a president, he or she must win enough state elections to garner a majority of electoral votes. So presidential campaigns, they focus on winning statewide and not nationally. So what that means is, if in your state, let's say, most of that state votes for, let's say, would have voted for Clinton or voted for Clinton, then that state, the electoral voters are going to vote with the majority of the vote, and, you win the state, you win elections. So, you might not win it at a national level, but if you get out there and vote and enough people vote for that candidate, you'll win that state, and eventually that's how you win, elections. So it does matter for those of you that say, for those of you that you hear out there, people saying that it doesn't matter, it does matter, and it's very important for you to get out there and vote. If you want to make an impact, you have to focus on your state, you have to get out there and let your voice be heard. Not only because it's your right as a citizen, but because that your voice is going to be heard locally, statewide, and nationally in many areas. It matters, when it comes to social matters. It matters when it comes to, allocating funds in your state. So and what I mean by that is, if you go out there and vote, for example, the new stadium that was just built in Arlington, when I saw that, the first thing that came to mind was You know, they could have voted for maybe a better school district. But if you didn't get out there and vote, you didn't let your voice be heard. You didn't let them hear that you didn't want your hard-earned, working, your taxes paid for something else. And yes, it's probably going to generate income, but me, myself, I thought, I would have rather those funds gone somewhere else, and that's why I voted for something else. And you're not always going to win the vote, but, if you don't get out there and vote, you're never going to know what your vote can do. Social matters, things as simple as, not allowing people to smoke in restaurants. That's something I think Fort Worth won a few years back. So now when you go into the restaurant, they don't have a smoking, non-smoking section. It's all non-smoking at restaurants, public places. You cannot smoke inside the buildings, which I think is great. So, again, let your voice be heard on, not just who's going to represent your government, but in many of these other matters as well. And what happens if you don't vote? Well, an article on reference.com on government and politics I thought was great. It says, there's not going to be a penalty for not voting. If you don't vote, then you really have no right to complain about the election turnout. So you don't get to complain. If you, now I don't think it's a secret again that nobody's going to come out here and, tell you why didn't you vote, but, it's really important for you to get out there and vote. Really, another article that I found on Taking Action Minnesota, titled 5 Scary Things That Happen When You Don't Vote. The author Candace Montgomery talks about how not voting affects our nation that you really love. One of the main things I took from this article is that our votes determine what kind of laws and politics we're able to create to make our lives and our future better. The author went out to, say that, we are, our votes determine what kind of laws and policies we're able to create to make our lives and our future better. So future generations are relying on me and on you to vote for them. So don't stay silent. I like this picture of his dad with his daughter. It was on that website, and he's saying, I'm voting for my kids. I'm voting because I want to see a better, future for them. So, don't let your voice be silenced again by those that say that it doesn't matter. They do matter. They determine, what kind of life we want to create. They determine the future for our children. You missed out on your voice being heard. You're truly going to miss out on voting for the things, again, that you believe in and that you hold dearly to your heart. You're going to fail those around you, what you want to see, not only at local but national level as well. So, I leave you really with this. You know that voting is simple. I've told you how to do it, why you should do it, where you should do it, who can help you if you don't understand how to do it. I explained to you why you should vote. It matters because you're voting at a national, local level, at a state level. You're voting on not only your government, but you're voting on social matters. Do you want people smoking, not smoking? Do you want a new stadium being built or not being built? There's so many things that, affect voting. My hope is that you let your beliefs and hopes for a better future be shown and be impactful for a better United States of America, and that you don't let your hopes and your dreams and aspirations be silenced by those that dare to say that your vote does not count. You've been given a right and a responsibility. Now, it's your time to get out there and make a difference. And this is a quote that I hear all the time and I love. In the wonderful words and powerful words of Mahatma Gandhi, you must be the change that you want to see in the world. So, get out there and vote. And again, I'm going to have a copy of this presentation for you at the end so that, you have it as a reference. Thank you.